A still lake reflects the sky with perfect clarity. When the mind settles into that same stillness, it begins to reflect truth. In much the same way, a woman who has disciplined her heart and refined her habits becomes naturally magnetic, not because she is chasing that effect, but because her very presence carries a quiet gravity. Think about it for a moment. People are rarely pulled toward noise. They are pulled toward peace, toward steadiness, toward the uncommon quality of someone who moves through life with depth. Let's walk together through 6 habits, unfolded across 18 teachings. Each one is a seed to plant. Each one is a path back to strength and grace. When a lake is calm, it mirrors the sky perfectly. You can watch clouds drift, trees leaning toward their own reflection, even your own face looking back at you. But when the surface is disturbed, when waves ripple across it, what do you see instead? Only distortion, broken shapes, blurred images. The human mind works the same way. A restless mind cannot perceive truth. It cannot recognize beauty, and it cannot make sound decisions. A restless heart misjudges people and misreads situations. But a quiet mind, like a still lake, reflects things exactly as they are. This is why the first habit that gives a mature woman true magnetism is her capacity for stillness before she acts. Stillness doesn't mean doing nothing. It isn't passivity or withdrawal. It means choosing to pause before responding. It means placing a small gap between what happens to you and how you react to it. Most people move through life like puppets on strings. Someone says something hurtful, and a sharp, defensive reply shoots back instantly. A driver cuts them off, and the horn blares in anger. The phone rings, and it must be answered immediately. These instant reactions aren't mastery. They reveal someone controlled by outside events, rather than by their own inner compass. A woman of real substance is one who can pause, breathe, and let her inner clarity decide what response actually fits. That pause itself is a form of power. In traditional Shaolin training, new students arrive eager. They want to strike fast, kick hard, prove their strength right away. But the master slows them down. The very first lesson isn't movement, it's stillness. Hours pass in horse stance, knees bent, body motionless, eyes calm. Many grow restless and ask why they can't simply attack. The master's answer is always the same. If you cannot stand still for 5 minutes, how will you stand firm for 5 years? The habit of pausing before acting isn't weakness, it's mastery. From that stillness, every movement becomes deliberate. Every word becomes chosen rather than blurted. Consider how relationships actually fall apart. Most don't end because of some enormous betrayal. They erode through small, uncontrolled reactions. A careless insult, a rushed judgment, a heated word that can never quite be taken back. Now picture a woman who, when tension rises, simply breathes and lets silence speak first. Her partner feels her strength not in volume, but in calm. That calm is magnetic because it offers safety. Everyone is drawn toward the person who can hold a storm without being swept away by it. So how might you practice this? Start small. When the urge to respond instantly rises, whether in conversation or the reflex to check your phone, pause for 2 breaths. This isn't laziness, it's training. 2 breaths create space, and in that space, clarity arrives. In that clarity, you stop being a puppet. You become the one in charge. This kind of mastery is invisible to the eye, but it's felt deeply by everyone around you. People trust you because they sense you're not reactive, you're conscious. Ask yourself, how many times have I said something I later regretted, simply because I didn't pause first? How many conflicts in my life might have softened if I'd taken 2 breaths before replying? That kind of honest reflection invites humility, and humility is the soil where real value takes root. The woman who pauses, who carries stillness within her, becomes a rare presence in a loud world. Her stillness becomes her power, her magnetism, her natural pull. Not because she's performing it, but because it's simply who she is. Now, let's move into the second teaching. Words are never neutral. They are living energy. They shape both the world around us and the world within us. A woman of real depth understands that her words can heal or wound, bring peace or spark conflict. That's why she treats her words as medicine. She doesn't waste them on gossip. She doesn't weaponize them in anger, and she doesn't cheapen them through constant flattery. Instead, she speaks with intention, discipline, and care. Because her words are rare, they carry weight. People listen when she speaks, not because she's loud, but because she speaks with purpose. There's an old saying, the tongue is soft, yet it can break bones. Think about how many relationships have been shattered by sharp words rather than by physical harm. Think about how many people carry wounds from careless remarks made by parents or partners. Words are subtle, but their impact runs deep. When a woman chooses her words with care, she becomes a safe place. Her partner knows that even in conflict, she won't lash out recklessly. Her friends trust that her encouragement is genuine. The people close to her know that her words bring steadiness, not chaos. I once knew a woman who never spoke while angry. Instead, she'd write her feelings down in a small notebook, letting the storm pass before she said a word. When her emotions settled, she'd speak, precisely, gently, and unforgettably. People respected her deeply, because when she finally chose to speak, it felt like wisdom distilled through patience. Her words were medicine. And what does medicine do? It heals, it restores, it brings balance. That's why people trusted her. Her value lay in her ability to create peace through language. In your own life, pay attention to how you use words. When you argue, are you speaking to release tension or to build understanding? Are you seeking to win or to connect? A woman of real value doesn't waste her words proving she's right. She chooses words that serve truth rather than ego. And because of that, her presence becomes healing. People feel lighter after talking with her. They feel understood. That's rare, and rare things hold value. One practical way to build this habit, before speaking in a heated moment, silently ask yourself, does this create harmony or division? If the answer is division, choose silence instead. Silence is better than a word that poisons. Over time, this becomes second nature, and when your words do come, they'll be respected, treasured, remembered. This isn't about manipulating others, it's about living with integrity. Your speech reflects your inner discipline, and inner discipline is magnetic. People feel it. They're drawn to it because it feels safe and strong. Ask yourself, are my words leaving behind healing or scars? That single question, asked honestly, can transform your relationships. It can help you become someone whose presence feels irresistible, not because of beauty or charm, but because of how you make people feel when you speak. To be listened to, trusted, and respected, that's a far deeper form of attraction than appearance alone. And so we arrive at the third teaching. Value isn't only carried in stillness of mind or wisdom of speech, it's also carried in the body, in how a woman moves, walks, and holds herself. The way she walks tells a story. It speaks of her inner state, her balance, her dignity, her self-respect. Walking with grace isn't about perfection in some worldly sense. It's about harmony of energy, alignment between the inner and outer self. People sense grace not through their eyes, but through their nervous system. Grace calms others. It attracts without trying. I remember an elderly woman who walked the temple grounds every morning. She wasn't young, tall, or dressed in anything remarkable. Yet as she walked slowly and steadily, every step balanced and intentional, people noticed her without fail. Why? Because her movement was in harmony. She wasn't rushing, and she wasn't dragging. She walked as though the ground beneath her was sacred, as though every step was a small offering. People were drawn to her, not because of beauty as the world defines it, but because of the energy woven into her walk. That is what it means to walk with grace. In relationships, grace is magnetic. A woman who moves with presence sends a quiet, wordless message. I am at peace within myself. That peace makes others want to be near her. It builds trust. It stirs admiration. In a world where so many rush through life, distracted and stumbling, the one who moves with awareness becomes unforgettable. Even in a crowded room, she stands out, not through effort, but through energy. How can you cultivate this kind of grace? Start by slowing your walk. Feel each step meet the earth. Imagine the ground listening to your footsteps. Walk not as though you're late or fleeing something, but as though each step is an offering. Let your shoulders soften. Let your breath set the rhythm. Try this for just one day, even walking from room to room, and you'll notice not only how others perceive you, but how you feel within yourself. Slowness builds dignity. Awareness builds grace. Ask yourself, when I walk, Am I rushing through life or honoring each step? What story does my walk tell about me? Anxiety, distraction, insecurity, or presence, steadiness, calm? Your walk reveals your inner state. To walk with grace is to live with grace, and that is irresistible. People rarely think consciously, "She walks beautifully," but unconsciously, they feel it. They feel peace in your presence. They admire your composure. They're drawn to you because you carry harmony in your body as much as in your mind. Stillness before action, words as medicine, walking with grace. Together, these three teachings already begin shaping a woman into someone magnetic, not through effort, but through alignment. She becomes irresistible not because she's trying to attract attention, but because she carries within her the very qualities every heart quietly longs for: calm, clarity, and harmony. These are the habits of someone who has trained her spirit, someone not ordinary, but extraordinary in her maturity. When you stand before a great mountain, something becomes clear. The mountain doesn't shout. It doesn't shift with every gust of wind. It doesn't need to explain its height. Its strength lies not in constant display, but in silent endurance. This is the essence of restraint. True power isn't found in grasping for everything, saying everything, showing everything. It's found in the discipline of choosing what not to do, what not to say, what not to accept. A woman of depth and maturity doesn't reveal her worth by chasing or proving. She reveals it through the quiet mastery of restraint. In martial arts, one of the earliest lessons is that the most dangerous strike is often the one held back. The punch that never lands demonstrates control. The kick that stops just short of contact shows discipline. Why? Because anyone can release force, but not everyone can master it. The same is true in life. Anyone can lash out in anger, indulge in excess, or chase fleeting desire. But not everyone can step back, breathe, and choose patience instead. This ability, this refusal to be enslaved by impulse, is what makes a woman truly radiant. People admire her because her strength isn't chaotic, it's contained. Her energy isn't wasted, it's preserved. Restraint can be practiced in small, daily ways. When anger rises, she doesn't let her voice rise with it. When gossip tempts her, she chooses silence instead. When an unhealthy relationship knocks, she doesn't answer the door, even when loneliness whispers otherwise. This restraint isn't bitterness, it's clarity. It's the ability to recognize what drains her and to choose against it, even when emotion argues otherwise. Practiced again and again, restraint becomes dignity. And dignity is irresistible because it can't be bought, borrowed, or faked. It is the quiet fragrance of self-respect. Think about how restraint transforms relationships. When one partner lashes out and the other reacts, the fire only grows. But when one holds restraint and refuses to escalate, the fire has nothing to feed it. Arguments soften. Respect stays intact. When someone pressures you to explain or justify yourself, sometimes restraint means simply not doing so, letting silence speak instead of flooding the air with defenses. The one who can hold back from defending her ego often leaves a far deeper impression than the one who argues endlessly. The mature woman who has mastered restraint becomes unshakable because she is no longer pulled by the strings of impulse. Yet restraint isn't suppression. Suppression is heaviness born of fear. Restraint is freedom born of clarity. When you practice restraint, you aren't closing your heart. You're creating space to choose wisely. You're refusing to become a servant to every passing urge. To build this habit, try something simple. Once a day, choose to say no. It might be to a small distraction, an unhelpful habit, or an invitation that doesn't serve your well-being. Each time you say no, notice the strength it builds. Over time, this becomes second nature, and people begin to feel your presence as solid, trustworthy, and magnetic. Now let's turn to another dimension of strength, the quiet art of boundaries. Boundaries are often misunderstood. Some see them as walls meant to push people away. Others mistake them for selfishness, a refusal to care. But that isn't the truth. Boundaries aren't walls, they're riverbanks. A river doesn't stop water from flowing. It shapes its course, keeping balance, ensuring life moves forward without destruction. Boundaries work the same way in human life. They aren't about rejection, they're about respect, about teaching people how to treat you, not through loud demands, but through consistent self-respect. When a woman has no boundaries, she becomes like a cup with no shape, absorbing whatever is poured into her, even when it harms her. And unconsciously, people lose respect for someone who consistently betrays her own limits. They push further, take more, because she herself hasn't defined where respect begins and ends. But when a woman carries clear boundaries, she doesn't need to raise her voice or over-explain. People feel the line even when it's never spoken aloud. In her calm refusal, her gentle no, her quiet withdrawal the moment something crosses the line. That is strength without aggression. I once spoke with a young woman who felt her friends constantly overlooked her feelings. She felt drained, unappreciated, invisible. I asked her a simple question. Do you respect your own limits? She fell silent. Slowly, she realized she'd been saying yes to every request, letting people cross her comfort again and again out of fear of rejection. When she began calmly saying no, without anger, something shifted. People started listening. They adjusted how they treated her. Her friendships improved, not because she forced respect, but because she respected herself first. Her boundaries taught others how to love her correctly. Boundaries matter, especially in romantic relationships. Many women fall into the trap of giving endlessly, hoping their generosity will secure love. But love without boundaries isn't love, it's dependence. Real love needs structure. A woman who can say, I love you, but I won't accept disrespect, creates security for herself and for her partner. She becomes more compelling because her partner senses that her love is strong, not weak. She isn't desperate, and so her presence carries genuine weight. Practicing boundaries begins with clarity. Ask yourself what you truly value, what feels sacred to you. Once you know, protect it. Protect your time, protect your energy, protect your body, protect your peace, protect your dignity. When you guard these things with quiet firmness rather than aggression, the world begins to respect you, and in that respect, your value grows. A woman without boundaries is easily forgotten. A woman with boundaries cannot be ignored. Closely tied to boundaries is another rare gift, the art of listening. Listening isn't waiting for your turn to speak. It isn't filling every silence with advice. Listening is the discipline of presence, the ability to enter someone else's silence without trying to control it. A woman who listens this way becomes magnetic because she offers what the human heart craves most, to be heard. Most people listen with only half their attention, spending the rest preparing a reply, defending themselves, planning what to say next. But a woman who has trained her heart knows how to make space instead. She leans into silence rather than rushing to fix, prove, or display her own wisdom. She listens as though nothing else matters in that moment, and the result is remarkable. People leave her presence feeling understood, even healed, not because she solved their problem, but because she gave them the rare gift of undivided attention. I remember a young student who once came to me distressed about his failures in training. He spoke for over an hour. I said perhaps 5 words the entire time. Afterward, he bowed and thanked me for my wisdom. But the wisdom wasn't in my words, it was in my silence. What he needed wasn't correction, but a space where his heart could empty itself without judgment. That is the power of listening deeply. In relationships, this quality changes everything. When conflict arises, the one who listens deeply calms the fire. Instead of interrupting or rushing to defend herself, she listens, creating room for real understanding. Her partner feels seen, and when people feel seen, their anger naturally softens. Friends trust her because she listens without judgment. Others open up to her because her attention feels safe. This quality is magnetic, because being truly heard is one of the deepest human needs. To practice this, begin with 1 conversation a day. As you listen, notice when your mind starts drafting a reply, and gently bring your focus back to the speaker. Let silence exist without rushing to fill it. Nod, breathe, let the other person finish completely. When you do respond with reflection rather than a lecture, something like, I hear that you're feeling tired, or I can tell this matters deeply to you. This small shift is profound. It builds intimacy, respect, and trust. Ask yourself, do I truly hear the hearts of others or only their words? Am I listening to understand or listening to reply? When you cultivate deep listening, you don't just change how others experience you, You change how you experience life itself. You begin to notice more, see more, feel more. The world reveals details that hurry and noise usually hide. Restraint, boundaries, and listening. These three aren't techniques for manipulating others. They are ways of being. Together, they shape a woman who is deeply grounded, deeply trustworthy, deeply magnetic. She isn't swept away by impulse. She carries herself with dignity. She isn't drained by others because she honors her own sacred space. She isn't distracted by her own ego in conversation because she offers the quiet medicine of true presence. This combination creates a rare kind of energy, one that draws others in without her ever needing to chase anyone. The truth is simple. People aren't drawn to noise. They're drawn to presence. And presence is cultivated through restraint, through upheld boundaries, and through listening with your whole being. These habits demand discipline, but discipline is freedom, and freedom is its own kind of beauty. There's a reason some people move through life with quiet strength and dignity, while others constantly feel drained, disrespected, or overlooked. That difference often comes down to how well they understand and protect their own worth. Many people struggle not because they lack intelligence, talent, or goodness, but because they allow themselves to be pulled into the orbit of people who neither value their presence nor respect their limits. Respect isn't just about courtesy or politeness. It's a recognition of your humanity, of your right to exist without being diminished. How you carry yourself, the standards you hold, and the limits you enforce all determine whether people honor that right or trample it. When you begin living with awareness of your own worth, you realize that not every situation requires your presence. Not every person deserves an explanation, and not every battle is yours to fight. Life has a way of testing whether you're willing to defend your own dignity or whether you'll surrender it for temporary approval. The mistake so many people make is believing that endless accommodation, forgiveness, or availability will earn them love and loyalty. In reality, it often breeds the opposite: contempt, manipulation, neglect. Those who give without discernment, who serve without boundaries, eventually become invisible to the very people taking from them. Remember, how others treat you often reflects what you first allowed for yourself. Tolerate disrespect once, and you quietly grant permission for it to continue. Shrink yourself to keep others comfortable, and you teach them your light is negotiable, that your truth can be dimmed for their convenience. Once that pattern sets in, it's difficult to reverse. People rarely raise the level of respect they show you on their own. You have to insist on it. That strength doesn't come from arrogance or hardness. It comes from clarity. It comes from knowing exactly what you will and won't tolerate, and standing firm in that even when it costs you relationships, opportunities, or short-term comfort. Many fear this kind of firmness because they don't want to be seen as cold or selfish. But real love, for yourself or anyone else, cannot survive without respect. Love without respect becomes exploitation. Kindness without respect becomes servitude. Patience without respect becomes enabling. Think about how often you've excused someone's repeated mistreatment because you believed their potential outweighed their actions. Maybe you told yourself they didn't mean it, or that patience would eventually change them. But years pass, and the pattern only deepens. Respect isn't cultivated through passivity. It's built through consistent action. When you stop making excuses, when you finally step away from behavior that undermines you, you send a message, not just to others, but to yourself, that you are worth more than that. That shift, though painful, marks the beginning of reclaiming your own power. People naturally test boundaries. Even those with good intentions want to see how much they can lean on you, how far they can push, how much of yourself you're willing to give up. This isn't always malicious. It's simply human nature. But if you never draw a line, if you never enforce a standard, you can't blame others for stepping into the space you left unguarded. Your life is like a house. If you never lock the doors or maintain the walls, anyone can walk in and rearrange things as they please. And then you wonder why your peace feels disturbed, your energy feels drained, your joy feels fleeting. Many people confuse selflessness with self-erasure. They believe being good means never saying no, never challenging mistreatment, never stepping back from those who exploit them. But there's nothing noble about being depleted. A candle burning at both ends doesn't light the room any longer. It simply burns out faster. Protecting yourself isn't selfish. It's stewardship of the life you've been given. When you understand that, your presence grows more powerful, your words carry more weight, and your love becomes more authentic, because it flows from a place of wholeness and self-respect, not desperation. Think about the times you stayed silent while someone insulted you, dismissed your feelings, or took advantage of your kindness. Did that silence resolve anything? Did it inspire more respect? Or did it simply invite the pattern to repeat? Often it's the latter. Silence in the face of disrespect is easily read as consent. Avoiding confrontation doesn't spare you conflict, it invites more of it. But when you calmly, firmly, and consistently draw a line, something shifts. The wrong people drift away, while the right people rise to meet your standard. In that way, your circle is refined, not by chance, but through your courage to insist on respect. Respect also begins in the smallest details, not only in grand moments, but in everyday interactions. Whether people listen when you speak, whether they follow through on their word, whether they honor your boundaries without resistance. If someone consistently interrupts you, dismisses your effort, or ignores your requests, they're already showing you their level of respect. Don't convince yourself they've rise to the occasion in bigger moments, when they fail in the small ones. Those who truly value you show it through consistent patterns, not occasional gestures. At times, insisting on respect requires solitude. Walking away can feel isolating, especially after investing years into a relationship, friendship, or work environment. The pull to compromise just to keep company can be strong, but loneliness with dignity will always outweigh togetherness without honor. One difficult season of solitude can clear away years of accumulated toxicity, and when you move through that season with strength, you begin attracting people drawn not to your weakness, but to your strength, not to your constant availability, but to your self-respect. Living this way requires an inner stillness that guilt, manipulation, or outside pressure cannot easily shake. People may call you difficult when you hold your standards. They may call you distant when you refuse mistreatment. They may call you selfish when you choose peace over chaos. But remember, those labels reflect their discomfort, not your worth. The people who truly belong in your life will never feel threatened by your strength. They'll be inspired by it. There comes a point when you must decide that your spirit is no longer a place for others. Carelessness. That your time is too valuable to spend on conversations that go nowhere, arguments that exhaust you, or relationships that quietly chip away at your self-worth. Once that decision takes root, life begins to open. The energy once spent defending yourself against disrespect becomes fuel instead. For growth, for creativity, for peace. Your spirit grows lighter. Your steps become more intentional. Your days become fuller. And so the lesson, though simple, carries real weight. Stop discounting your worth. Stop offering yourself at clearance prices just to be chosen. Those who can't meet the value of your presence were never meant to carry it. And when you finally live that truth fully,